Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6th round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, Eddie Mercado. We're coming to y'all just from the close of UFC 316 going down at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, where Merab Dvalishvili put the hammer on Sean O'Malley. Just put him away, you know? I really thought, hey, Sean O'Malley, he had such a bad fight with Merab last time. He looked so unprepared to fight off Merab's wrestling. All he can do is be better prepared this time around. You know? There can't be anything. And then he came out with this whole like, oh, I tore my labrum and I wasn't doing any wrestling training. And it's like, yeah, all right, buddy, sure.
I think his grappling did look better this time out.
It looked better enough to get him in more trouble.
Let me rephrase. A lot of his takedown defense was improved, not his grappling per se, because he got
Yeah. It was one of those things where he had little moments, little flashes where it was like, oh yeah, he's pushing forward, he's pushing Merab back, and he's landing some body kicks and some things like that, and it's working a little bit, but he hates it, and every time Merab pushes forward, Sean's right back on the cage, circling around as fast as he can. And then the big thing was that he did do a much better job getting and shucking off, getting Merab's grip broken and shucking off his hands on initial takedown attempts early in the fight. Fought off a lot more of them, a lot more successfully. But he did not at all address the core problem that has been something that he gets away with for every other fight. And he can't get away with Merab, which is that his takedown defense has mostly always been centered around intercepting with strikes, letting somebody in on his hips, and then working to fight the grip after they're already in. And it's like, you can't give that to Merab Dvalishvili over and over again. And it's like, yeah, you fought those.
I'd argue that no one can stop that.
Yeah, I mean, Aldo did, but that's
He's the greatest of all time.
Yeah. So this was Sean O'Malley. What?
Umar struggled.
He did.
And that's another thing. When Umar found his greatest success, A, when he wasn't tired, but B, when he was coming forward.
Yes.
You have to come forward on Merab.
You have to come forward on Merab.
But to do that, you have to eat the fear of the takedown and worrying about defending the takedown. So it's this balancing act. It's, do I get ready to defend the takedown, or do I move forward and strike? Because if I move forward and strike too much, or get in that zone, he's going to be at my hips. So Merab poses such a fear of that.
Oh yeah.
I think that right there is what, because Merab's not that great fighting backwards. He's not. He's very hittable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sean was actually using a little bit of that, make him go backwards to get himself off the cage at times.
Mm-hmm.
He would do almost like this basketball dribble move to get Merab to back up, and it would work sometimes, but he wouldn't follow it up with anything. So I think Sean was just too afraid of the takedown, too focused on it.
I mean, that was the other thing too, is that he was clearly more focused about stopping the wrestling and fighting it off once Merab got inside. But to that end, he actually let Merab outbox him for significant portions.
Right. Because he was so worried about the takedown.
Yeah.
And it's like what you were saying, he's trying to intercept and trying to get his hands low to do that, to fight the hands, fight the grip, that the top is open.
Yeah.
And Rob does a great job, or he is now, of throwing some crazy hooks before he's shooting in.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I really liked seeing out of Dvalishvili in this fight is that, he would get in on takedowns and O'Malley would start fighting the grips and doing a pretty good job of it. He did it for a couple of rounds. He was really pretty good about breaking the hands, getting away. But Merab did such a good job of punching through as O'Malley was breaking the grips, or if O'Malley was getting into range and Dvalishvili couldn't get in and set up the shot just the way he wanted, he was doing a really great job of just punching through those transition points where Sean is trying to get wild and creative to stop takedowns, and he's really having to take his focus away from defending any strikes at all. And in almost every one of those situations, Dvalishvili just lit him up with big shots in tight, in clinches, in dirty boxing range. Like if he could get one hand on Sean O'Malley's waist and Sean O'Malley's fighting that hand and fighting that grip, the other hand is up there punching him in the head right away, every time.
It's beautiful MMA.
Yeah, it was great.
Fucking man, dude.
He is.
And like, I love that Sandman will get the next shot. Hopefully, rightfully so, get the next shot.
I mean, I see people asking how do they think he's gonna do, yada yada yada. I saw people saying like, oh well, Sandhagen's a better wrestler and grappler, so he could be more competitive everywhere and really compete. And it's just like I don't see it. He doesn't have the same. He doesn't pose the same size and range threat to the extreme level that O'Malley does. And without that threat, I don't think he can be functionally powerful and aggressive enough in the way Umar was to ever put Dvalishvili on his heels much. It's just going to be, at best, he's going to be competitively fighting Merab off of him for every round.
Yeah, and I think he's going to spend a lot of time skirting around.
Yeah.
Using footwork. Like that's the kryptonite to. I mean,
and it's one of the big things we saw with Sandhagen against Umar Nurmagomedov was that he came in prepared to not let Nurmagomedov out wrestle him, and he stayed on his feet really well in that fight, but he just got firmly outboxed at that point.
Yeah, and that goes back to the so worried about the takedown, you forget about your striking defense.
Yeah. So I just don't think Sandhagen is that guy. I think he can be competitive. I think he probably won't get finished, but I think it's going to be I could easily see it being a 50-45 Merab fight where you're just like, oh yeah, every round is pretty good and he's not getting finished out there, but he's not winning any of these rounds either.
Well, I mean, I didn't think Sean O'Malley was going to get finished out here, but he did.
No, yeah. I mean, that what was that? It's like a north-south Ezekiel almost. What is?
No, it's a power guillotine.
Okay.
He put up the power guillotine, and O'Malley rolled to his back as one should, but Merab didn't fucking let go. He just stayed on it, and then sunk his chest down over his face, just increased, like locking it in.
Yep.
And O'Malley had nowhere to go.
No, yeah, it was a beautiful choke. Really.
It was nasty.
It really was. It was a great fight, great win. We got people saying, no, should O'Malley go to 145? I mean, he could try it. I don't think anybody else at 135 is going to do to him what Merab did. And there are still cool fights there. Like he hasn't fought Umar. He hasn't fought Sandhagen. He hasn't fought like Mario Batista.
I didn't even hear what you said. You cut out there, Zane. What was that one?
I guess you didn't watch that fight, right? So you don't know what happened.
I know what happened, but I didn't watch it.
I got some real bad news for you.
It was a great fight.
It was a great performance from Mario Batista.
That's not what I asked.
And Patchy Mix looked like shit.
It was a great fight.
An abysmal performance from Patchy Mix.
So the fight sucked.
The fight was good from Batista's half, and Mix did such a bad job that it couldn't be a good fight.
So it was a shitty fight.
Yes, he just stood there and let Batista punch him for 3 rounds and outwork him.
Well, I'm glad I missed it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm glad I didn't fucking watch it. But I
yeah,
had to stay true to myself. I said I wasn't going to watch it. The boycott was on.
yeah. But no, I don't
I don't
know
what Sean does after this.
Yeah, I mean, he took his gloves off in the cage, and for a minute there, I was wondering. But I mean, look, I will say, people asking should he get back on the, is the having a cleaner lifestyle affect him in this fight? I don't know that. I don't think it did, but it does make him infinitely more boring. That walkout song he had, what the fuck was that?
You don't like that song?
That's a terrible song. That is the world's lamest song.
Oh, I don't know about
Come
that.
on.
You just hate America.
I do not hate America. That song blows.
Nah.
What are you rocking that in your car? You're like, yeah, turn this up. I'm gonna blast it. No, that song is trash. That song gets you amped. You're gonna go out and get into a fight to that song. Come on.
I've heard worse.
I mean, Juliana Pena's walkout song was better.
I didn't even hear it. What was it?
Oh, it was God damn it. What terrible song was it? Sound of Silence. That's what it was.
Oh no. That's way worse.
No, it's not.
No, it's way worse.
It was terrible. These were terrible walkouts. And his weedless, clean living life personality, all it does is show that all the other stuff he was piling on there was just trappings on top of a lame personality. Because without that stuff, there's just a lame personality left. Come on.
I mean, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, you're not, but I am.
That's a bit.
I'm going to say it.
Like, who knows what his personality is? For real. I don't know. I think he's probably going through some shit, losing his title and having self-doubts and maybe even battling depression. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not gonna attack his personality.
Yeah, start doing more heroin around his kid.
Jesus.
That was him. He was the one saying that it was fine. What?
I don't know, but I think he did a great job building his brand, and I think he can just make money off of his brand to where he doesn't even have to fight.
Yeah, typical MMA fighter move these days.
Yeah, well, the preferred move if you want to ever make real money.
Yeah. I don't know. There are fights for him. I don't know that, he might as well kind of just bounce around wherever he can get a fight. If he can fight Max Holloway at 145, that would be a cool fight. People would watch that. That
would be a fucking banger.
Exactly.
I really wanted to see him fight Sandhagen.
Yeah, I'd love to see him fight Sandhagen. I mean, I don't think Sandhagen's going to beat Merab Dvalishvili. They can both fight. He can wait 6 months and fight Corey Sandhagen off a loss.
Yeah.
So there are options for him. There are plenty of options for him. But get a walkout song that doesn't seem like something that everybody's dad would think was actually too lame to dance to.
Well, I think he was pandering to Trump a little bit.
Well, yeah, and that makes it less fucking lame. Come on.
Whatever. He's trying to get,
He's trying to get on the grifter circuit.
He's trying
get
to
himself a call up to Fox News like Colby Covington did, or oh, damn it. What's his name? The other
Masvidal?
Masvidal did when they called him a Mexican.
I'm Cuban, B.
Oh. All right. So yeah, I mean, you got to do Dvalishvili versus Sandhagen, and I don't know, O'Malley. If you wanted to bounce up to featherweight, obviously Holloway's fight Poirier
would be fucking a banger.
Yeah, that would be a ridiculous fight. I mean, hell, you could do actually. You know what? You could do like Holloway Yair. I don't think Yair is going to get that title fight now that they moved the card out of Mexico. So
You don't think they'll keep him?
I mean, maybe, but if they don't, could do that. So he could go up if you wanted, or otherwise, yeah. I mean, there's fights with Song Yadong, Umar Nurmagomedov. You know, there's bouts out there for him. I don't know.
Oh, you know who he should fight?
Who?
Henry Cejudo.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to see Sean O'Malley, Henry Cejudo. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
Absolutely.
It might be a weird fight, but
it's one of those fights that like 2 or 3 years ago would have made perfect sense, and now it makes perfect sense. So make it now.
Yeah,
you know,
I like it.
All right, that brings us to the co-main event: Kayla Harrison, Juliana Pena, and I have to think that Pena really believed that if she could just hang out with Harrison for a round or two, she'd get her tired. Because
that's what everyone's hoping, or like everyone's attacks her cardio, right? Like,
yeah,
it's because like she has flagged a little bit in fights. You know, the Pacheco, I don't know, like the 8th or 9th time they fought.
Yeah,
right. And like her striking is suspect, but I mean she's gone the distance before. It's not like it's not exactly new territory for her. She knows how to deep.
I think this is one of those things too where Pena, like, once she got taken down the first time, you could see that there's already some panic with the up kicks that got her a point taken immediately. Shout out to Shaolin Ribeiro as the ref. Love to see it, especially like, I will say this, you know, hard luck to Petr Yan as well, but in a title fight, as champ, you really should know the rules well enough to like not have a spaz foul in the first round.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not a rules issue. It's a survival issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not thinking about the fucking rules at that time. You're thinking about surviving. You got this massive opponent on you where they want you in their wheelhouse. You got to do whatever you got to do to get up. And you know what? She got the fuck up.
Yeah, she did. She lost a point, but she got to her feet. Yeah. But I think that was kind of the moment where a switch had to flip, where it had to be this realization of, oh, wait, when this woman takes me down, she can do whatever she wants to me. Because after that, Kayla Harrison getting takedowns, like, Juliana Pena did not. There was no way that the fight could go anything like it did in the first 2 rounds and have Kayla Harrison get tired. Like, she was not going to get tired just pancaking Juliana Pena and grinding her into the mat with elbows. It was just not going to happen.
Well, it only went 2 rounds, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have gone 16 rounds, and Kayla Harrison would not get tired doing that to Juliana Pena. I think it was just once they actually got tied up, the physical mismatch of it was way off the charts, you know?
And I think there's a big game planning issue there. I know your love for Sick Jitsu, but you really need to be coming forward on these wrestlers.
Yeah.
You need to come forward on them. You cannot let them pressure you back. Pena was just being too passive, too willing to go second, too defensively minded. Like, you got to come forward and put hands on these people.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of says something about your champ when they have a horrible 10-8 round where they lose, or 10-8 first round where they commit a stupid foul, and they get back to the stool, and the corner has to be like, "You did great. That was an awesome round. No, that was really good, and we've got this fight exactly where we want it." Like, you're the champ, and you still can't have some, like, any realism in your corner at all, even a hint.
What's ironic is the same thing happened with O'Malley after his first round.
Yeah,
his corner was like, "Oh, you did great job." It's like, Nah, not really.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and we got people talking about the Rogan in the booth today. It was a bad Joe Rogan night, but they're mostly all bad Joe Rogan nights. It was a more noticeable bad Joe Rogan night tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've just come to expect it at this point.
Yeah, he's pure
like,
podcasting mode.
He's the grandfather, he's the,
there was a
he
moment
on
early.
Loop. He like tells the same things over and over and over.
There's a moment in the Ariane De Silva fight where he's just like naming Brazilians that he can remember. He's just like, oh yeah, I remember Shogun and remember Ninja Hua and remember. It's just like, man, what are you fucking talking about right now? He's gonna name everybody from everybody in South America, like.
He's paid his dues, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I'm happy he's a part of it. I like it when he chimes in sometimes.
All right, that's some real positivity, some real
he's just
sunshine
no longer
thinking.
in the Elite 3. You know what I mean?
Elite 15, maybe.
There's only so many, but
Yeah.
Anik is the gold standard.
Yeah.
And I like Paul Felder. I think Paul Felder does a fantastic job also.
Look, everybody in that, almost every commentary person, I'm even coming around slowly on Dominic Cruz. And if you know me, that's something you'd never think I would ever say. I'm finding room in my cold, dead heart for Dominic Cruz's bitter acerbicism and being entirely tired of this bullshit when fighters aren't doing things right. But Rogan is just always off in his own universe.
Yeah.
They had to talk about Diamond MMA cups and how, like,
they are dope cups.
Tell people that you can teach them bow hunting and whatever.
Well, Kevin Holland brought that up.
Yeah, but you saw Rogan's eyes light up. That was his highlight of the night.
But then you saw Kevin's eyes light up. I think they had a moment there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So they brought Amanda Nunes back. And,
that's another thing. When it shows you the current state of the division where you have to bring someone out of retirement just to make things interesting. And it's interesting.
Yeah. It is a fight they need to make. I can see why Amanda Nunes wouldn't come back to fight Juliana Pena again. She doesn't need to do that. But Kayla Harrison with the belt, that's a meaningful fight for Amanda Nunes.
And weren't they training partners?
Yeah, I think briefly. Nunes split pretty quickly once they brought in Harrison. She went and started her own camp. So
it's an interesting matchup. I mean,
yeah.
I kind of see it going one of two ways, right? Like either Kayla's going to get fucking knocked out or Amanda's going to maybe get submitted, or at least.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I will just say, hot take, I think Kayla Harrison submits her.
I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think it's very plausible.
I think Amanda Nunes has probably been away from the game for a little too long, and she was talking about real like health and mobility issues when she was retiring, and that has the feel of a fight where she's going to be coming in banking on, if I get one really good shot I'll put her away, and otherwise I'm going to get taken down, and that's going to be it. Yeah,
I mean, maybe. I think Harrison still has a lot of growth to do on her feet.
Oh yeah.
I liked what I saw out of her tonight. I think I saw a lot of improvements in her stand-up and her utilization of striking her way into the clinch.
She did. She threw her left low kick, and then she brought it right back down into stance instead of 2 feet further out to brace her to keep from falling over. So that is a really good sign.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's improvements.
Her stability actually did look a lot improved, and being as big and strong as she is, just not getting off balance on strikes that's actually a big win. Like, all you got to do is stay upright long enough to grab onto somebody, you know?
I think it's also important to keep in mind that Amanda will be the hardest puncher that Harrison has ever faced.
I'm not saying that
Pacheco can crack, but not like Amanda Nunes.
No, I'm not saying that Amanda Nunes can't win the fight. I'm just saying if I have to pick right now, I'm picking Harrison.
Yeah.
And that might be recency bias. That's always going to happen when you just watch somebody fight. If I go look at tape and watch tape for 15 minutes, I might walk away and say, oh, there's no way Harrison's winning this.
But there's such a big X factor with the layoff and activity, retirement.
Yeah.
So it makes it interesting, though.
Yeah. And for Pena, let's see. I mean, I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah, she'll fight Norma Dumont, she should fight Raquel Pennington again.
Sure.
Because especially she should fight Raquel Pennington again because if Harrison beats Nunes, then it would make a lot of sense if Raquel Pennington was coming off a win for Raquel Pennington to fight for the title against Kayla Harrison.
Sure. But, I mean, even if Harrison beats Nunes, they can just run that back.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I'm fine with that. There's honestly not a lot of interest in that division for me.
No, there's right now, I mean, you're otherwise looking at, do you get Norma Dumont a title shot or do you get Eileen Perez a title shot?
Right.
Yeah. Or Ketlin Vieira off of that win over Macy Chasen.
But Harrison already beat her.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And it wasn't a good fight.
No.
Pass.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on. Middleweight bout, Joe Pyfer, Kelvin Gastelum.
We didn't even talk about the Kimura, though.
Oh, yeah. That was a nasty Kimura. I love that. I love seeing that out of Harrison, too. It's like, she's got the dominant position. She's going for the arm triangle. There's a few seconds left. She's not in position to get it. Just move over to the other side, crank that arm, and she nearly ripped that thing off.
Yeah, that was pretty. I really like seeing it.
That's what I say too. Is that I think it was pretty clear once they tied up the first time. That it's like, oh yeah, there's a physicality gulf here for Pena that she actually doesn't have any clue how to work around. Harrison can do things to her that nobody else in that division is going to do.
Honestly, I'd be fine if she fought Nunes at 140. If they did a catch weight.
Sure, I don't care about
this belt off the line, but I don't really care about the title in that division.
Yeah.
Because I think Harrison making 135 is taking years off her life. You saw her on the scale.
Mm-hmm. No, she's got that 135 McGregor vibe.
Yeah, or the 145.
The 145 McGregor vibe, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
No.
It's dangerous.
Yeah. All right. Joe Pyfer, Kelvin Gastelum, though.
If someone were to say Gastelum won this fight, I'd be okay with it.
You know what? It would be a bad argument, but I would also really love it and find it hilarious if he had won it.
Yeah.
Because Pyfer, clearly did the damage. Clearly, if somebody's going to win this fight, it should be Joe Pyfer. He had the big moments in the fight that you would reward. You're not going to say Kelvin Gastelum did anything to win this fight.
If this were a pride fight, Pyfer all day.
Yeah, exactly. But he really did just take... he just seems to be a fighter right now, and I think it speaks to his inexperience still. He just runs out of ideas really quick,
I'm not... Yeah.
He goes through the things he wants to do, because it's not like he's tired. He's talking to Joe Rogan out there afterward, and doesn't sound tired, doesn't look like he's exhausted.
I'm not sure if it's running out of ideas as much as it getting fixated on an idea. It's like, hey, this worked. I'm going to wait for this to happen again.
Yeah, either way. That's tomato to me. Whether you're getting fixated on...
He
He clearly lost the last round.
He got a 30-27, but he clearly
Yeah.
lost that last round.
He clearly lost that last round. He skated through the second round in a basically dead even I go, you go round that I would score for him. I think he landed the harder shots, but you're really talking, you know, one or two. And he dominated the first round, but he's got a, you know, he's had a long history of dominating guys within a round or so. And then this is very much the same fight we saw out of him against
Hermanson.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, you can put two good, solid winning rounds together, and then you just don't know what to do with yourself. Against somebody who's not gone, who doesn't go away, you don't have anything else to go to really keep the fight going, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he did hit a takedown somewhere in that fight. Like, I don't remember where it was.
Yeah.
It was very short-lived.
I mean, it's an inexperienced thing. It's just, you know, he doesn't have the experience to know how to manage a fight. And it's going to keep happening. He's got the you think it's more than that?
Yeah, it's like, there's so much of fighting that's instinctual. You know what I mean? Robbie Lawler was like 18 years old.
Yeah, and I mean, he has been fighting for 7 years, and he does have 17 fights. So at some point, you're right. Even if he's not 30 yet, he is at a point where he should be in the prime of his career. Yeah,
I think it's just something inherently part of him, his personality, if you will, that he's just not. It's like he can kill, but I don't think he's a killer.
Yeah, he's got that. I think he's very much in that Conor McGregor and Khamzat Chimaev thing, where like some of the world's best first round fighters of all time, and then like, you know, you get third or fourth round McGregor, you get third or fourth round Chimaev, and they're in a lot of really close, ugly, competitive fights that they don't really control, you know.
Yeah, but even then, I feel like they're doing way more than Pyfer does.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not high, you know, primed for the same kind of dominance that either of them experienced.
It's weird. It's almost as if he's like, oh, well, I had these really great moments in the first round. I won, and just kind of.
I think it's a thing where, like, because fighters like that who come out really sharp in the first round. Like they, you know, the thing with both Chimaev and McGregor is that, and Pyfer as well, they start the fight locked in. They've got their range, they've got their timing, they've got their power. Everything is operating perfectly the moment the fight starts. You know, this fight starts, Joe Pyfer is hurting Kelvin Gastelum instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, so, you know, a lot of really great fighters, they warm their way up into the fight. You get Max Holloway out there, he'll go out and he'll just kind of poke and prod and he'll feel his way through the fight. So in the third and fourth and fifth rounds, he is in a flow state.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for guys like Pyfer, like they're amped up, they're ready, they go out there and they're just firing. And then from there, it's just the focus can't go anywhere but down.
But a big difference, though, is, you know, with Conor, with Khamzat, they go so hard early on that I really think it's their gas tank that's hurting them late in fights versus Pyfer, who just, I don't know.
I think it's got to be some of the same stuff. I don't think that, like, Khamzat especially. I know McGregor's had some knee stuff where he's not, you know, able to do all the cardio that maybe he should be doing, but I don't think Chimaev is just gassing. He can absolutely dominate the shit out of somebody and then still be like, I don't know what I want to do in round 3. You know, I think it's a little bit of the same thing. I think he's kind of painted in that same mold as a really hot starter who just he burns all of his ideas out really fast. He starts locked in and he can only get less locked in the further the fight goes.
Or he gets locked in a weird place. He goes to the sunken place.
He gets unlocked. He gets locked out of the fight, whether he's locked into something else.
Yeah. It's definitely strange.
Yeah, it's definitely something that it could easily keep him out of contention in the long run, because there are a lot of Jack Hermansons in the UFC. That is not an archetype that this division is short on.
100%. Like Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even somebody like Roman Dolidze is going to go out and fight you really hard for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a weird situation for sure.
Yeah. But coming off this, though, he's primed for another step up into it.
I don't think so. I think he should fight Zach Reese.
He's not going to fight Zach Reese.
That's what should happen. Let him fight Zach Reese.
Nah, let him fight Abus Magomedov.
Yeah, I guess he needs to get pantsed again.
I don't think Abus Magomedov is going to pants him, but it'd be interesting to see if he might. I would say, honestly, I would like to see him fight Roman Kopylov, but they say Kopylov is fighting Paulo Costa. I'll believe it when Costa actually enters the octagon, but, you know. Sure. Get Pyfer in there. Get Pyfer geared up for a short notice call-up to Kopylov.
You know who Gastelum should fight? Israel Adesanya again. It's time for a match.
I would be. Somebody's asking, is Kelvin's chin one of the best in MMA history? Of course. I mean, I don't think Kelvin would have a third of the career he has had if his chin was not the way it is. He has fought on that chin every step of his career.
Like that first Izzy fight.
Yeah.
He rose from the dead so many times.
He is insanely durable. Legendarily durable.
Yeah.
No
question.
Might
even be the best thing about him.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's both the best thing about him, and I think it's also probably one of the things that has kept him from actually developing his game.
Well, I think that's being such a hardcore tweener. Like, can't quite make 170, too small for 85.
Is it that he can't quite make 170, or is it he's so naturally talented and gifted that he just doesn't think he has to work hard enough to make 170?
No, I just think he likes to eat and doesn't.
Well, that too. That's what I mean.
Doesn't want to sacrifice quality of life for making 170 and being miserable. And
but he thinks he's athletic enough to hang at 185, and it's the durability that's letting him hang at 185.
Yeah,
you know. But
he fights like this where he gets himself back into these fights.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, if I was hoping that this would be a fight that really taught Kelvin Gastelum that lesson finally, like you can't be just living on your chin forever. I think Joe Pyfer really let Gastelum off the hook in terms of teaching that lesson, where Gastelum has to be thinking about like, hey, no, I rode through it fine, and I came back and I was winning. So plan worked perfectly.
It would have been hilarious, though, if they gave Gastelum the win.
Yeah, it would have been really funny.
I'm glad one judge gave the first round a 10-8. I gave it a 10-8 also.
Yeah, I gave it a 10-8. I thought 29-27 was the right score. All right, Eddie, it's time.
Oh, is it time? Let's talk about Mark Kerr getting into the UFC Hall of Fame.
Okay, look. Mark Kerr deserves to be a Hall of Famer. It's not a bad decision. But this was clearly purely motivated by the movie coming out. And there are like 10 old school MMA vets that I would put in the Hall of Fame before Mark Kerr.
Sure.
Like his long-term impact on MMA as a whole is mostly as a cautionary tale and a great documentary. You know?
I think it's a very important piece.
It's an important piece. Like I said, he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. He does. Yeah. But I would put Tank Abbott in the Hall of Fame first.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, or Don Fry.
Yeah.
You know?
No argument there.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, they got the movie coming out. They're going to try to pimp it. I wonder who made the movie. I wouldn't be surprised if Endeavor had a hand in it or one of their branches.
Yeah, I'm sure they got some part. It's the Safdies or one of them. So, but somebody mentioning the Mark Kerr did win 2 UFC tournament titles. Yeah, if you've actually looked at those tournaments, they were the weakest UFC tournament. They were 2-fight tournaments each time.
Name one person that Tank Abbott beat.
That Tank Abbott beat?
Yeah, name one person.
Well, name one person that Mark Kerr beat.
No. You, if that's your argument.
Okay, Scott Ferrazzo. There, named one.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the Matula guy or whatever.
Taylor Tulu. No, that wasn't. He didn't fight Taylor Tulu.
No, the guy that went like this and then Tank.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was.
I thought it was Matula.
Was that Sam Atkins? No, that was John Matua. There we go. But he beat Paul. He beat my man Paul Varlins. So I would still no. Tank Abbott was actually instrumental in changing some of the way that MMA worked. He was like the first dude to wear gloves.
Yeah, true.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Art Jimmerman.
Yeah, the one glove.
He was the first guy to wear glove.
Yeah, he was the first guy to wear gloves. But Tank Abbott was the first dude to wear gloves. He actually was on the wrestle boxing kick just before Don Fry hit. Tank Abbott was like, he was the first dude who was like taking dudes down and punching and beating them up at the same time.
Yeah.
And then Don Fry came in and did it 10 times better than him right afterward. So, anyway. Yeah, no, the UFC did not do anything to memorialize our man Jordan Breen. So, if somebody asking what happened, Jordan Breen did pass away recently, and rest in peace to our former colleague and somebody that I considered a friend, and so that that was really hard. But no, the UFC wasn't going to do anything, so I'm not going to get into that. That's not the time nor the place.
Oh, well, I guess we'll bring it up. Ben Askren is actually fighting for his life right now.
Yeah. So, he's got pneumonia. I think I saw.
Lots of prayers. It's a lot. I heard it was pneumonia and staph.
Jeez.
It's a couple things. Yeah, and he's not responsive. So it's actually really serious.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Mario Batista Patchy mix.
Oh.
Here it is. Eddie didn't watch it.
No, the fuck I didn't.
And
I heard it was boring.
It was not boring.
I don't believe you.
What it was an abysmal showing by Patchy Mix. He looked every bit like oh god, his lady
what's her name? Suarez?
Yeah, Tatiana Suarez. He looked every bit like Tatiana Suarez against Weili Zhang.
Well, I heard Batista was running in the third.
Batista was sticking and moving. Mix was flexing. He landed one good 1-2 in the third and started flexing like he was Nick Diaz. But most of this fight was Mario Batista sitting down in front of Mix and landing 1-2s, and Mix being absolutely shocked that for the first time in his whole career, he was fighting somebody his same size who could punch him at the end of his own range. Like he ate like 50 right hands where every one he was just like, and that was it.
I'm glad I boycotted this fight. We actually had some fights here in North Virginia. Keyshawn Davis was supposed to defend his title, boxer, and ended up missing weight. Two of his brothers fought on the card. So I was watching the Kelvin Davis boxing match, which earlier in the night, Keon Davis won with the body shot. Gorgeous. Kelvin lost a decision.
He missed weight by like a bunch of pounds?
Keyshawn missed weight by like 4 and some change, 4 pounds.
Yeah.
And change. So they stripped him, and his opponent was like, "You're not about to Ryan Garcia me." Fights off. So the fight got scrapped. People wanted their money back, right? So Kelvin, he was fighting this guy Nahir Albright, who Keyshawn fought back in the day. Keyshawn beat him, but the result got overturned because Keyshawn popped a drug test for weed. So there's like a history there, right? So Albright beats Kelvin, right? And so I was watching that fight while this was happening. In the locker room in the back, Albright goes to the back. Keyshawn and Keon jumped him.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw people talking about that.
They gave him the Norfolk welcome.
Oh man.
So that's where my focus was, and I'm glad I was paying attention to that. It was a tough.
Yeah, I mean, this is really like I said about Tatiana Suarez about that Weili Zhang fight that's a fight that should make her question her coaches, because like, how do you let a fighter get to a title shot when they can't throw a 1-2? Like, they can't functionally stand and throw a 3-punch combo. Like, that's actually kind of a huge problem. And, you could say, oh, well, it's just Tatiana Suarez has never needed that before, and it's never really had to be part of her game before, and whatever, yada, yada, yada. This Patchy Mix fight is making me think they really need to get, like, whatever that coaching relationship is, it needs to go, because this looked like the first time he'd ever sparred somebody who had like range parity with him. Like, he was just deer in the headlights.
Did they grapple at all?
No, he did not try one takedown.
I'm so glad I skipped this fight.
He did not try one takedown.
Honestly, that was the only thing I might have been remotely interested in, is what happens when they grapple.
He just let Batista outbox him.
Damn.
Yeah.
What did Batista say on the microphone afterwards?
They didn't even give him an interview.
Exactly. It was a boring ass shit fight.
It was. I mean, honestly, he doesn't deserve that. He had one fight against Jose Aldo that you're not even gonna remember a year from now.
You don't think I'll remember?
No, I know you'll remember.
I will hold this grudge forever. Yes. I'll watch his next fight.
Didn't know you were Irish, Eddie.
I'm half Irish.
Oh, there you go. It explains it.
No, I'll watch his next fight.
All right. This was a good performance from him, and it was.
Was it, or was it just a bad performance from Mix?
No, it was a solid performance from him. He stuck to his guns. He outboxed him. He stood in and landed hard shots on Mix.
To be fair, Batista is really good about sticking to his guns. Like, he's real game plan minded.
Yeah. He fought a good fight, but Mix he looked like he just never considered. He looked like he came to prove a point with his hands and never considered that he was not actually a good boxer at all.
So he didn't even try one takedown attempt.
No.
Man,
it was terrible. Like, it was a strangely terrible fight from him.
Well, I'm glad I missed it.
Anyway, they should do Mario Batista Rob Font. So
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, or Song Yadong. There you go. That
Or why don't they try to book the Cheeto fight again?
I don't know. Cheeto's coming off a loss. You could book it. Sure.
I don't care if Cheeto's coming off a loss.
I know you don't care. All right. That brings us to a welterweight bout. Kevin Holland, Vicente Luque, and you know what? I am very pleased that Kevin Holland came out clearly to prove a point in this fight. And
what point is that?
That point was that he was not going to get bullied in any area by Vicente Luque. That he was not worried about it. Because I envisioned that Kevin Holland would have a cautious back foot outboxing performance like he had against JDM, Jack Della.
Really?
And yeah, because Luque loves to come forward, and Kevin Holland is actually pretty good going backwards, and that he could just keep him on the end of his jab and beat him, and it would be fine, and it'd be whatever. It'd be a Holland win, but it wouldn't be a thriller. And instead, Holland went out there, and he was just like, no, I'm going to throw down, and I'm going to see what happens.
I fully expected him to throw down. Luque,
Yeah.
like, I love Vicente Luque. I love the way he fights. I love how he comes forward, and I love how he throws a bunch of volume. But
Mm-hmm.
he's hittable. He gets
Oh
hit.
yeah.
And like, you can't at 170, you can't, not with Holland. Holland at 170, nah. I didn't.
Yeah.
I had zero. I'm surprised the odds weren't wider than what they were. Like,
Yeah.
I gave Luque 0 chances to win.
That's I thought he could potentially club and sub Holland if they get really mixed it up like this. But nope. Really, really pretty sub from Holland. Love how
he was off the. He like caught a kick and pushed him over.
Yeah, and then got him on coming up.
Luque tried to wrestle up, and he hit him
Mm-hmm.
with an anaconda, and everybody and their mother was calling it a darce. It's not a fucking darce. Even Holland called it a darce. That was an anaconda. I will stand on. I will die on that hill, Zane.
All right, as long as you're dead.
Oh, I'll haunt you.
No, I know you will.
Don't tempt me.
No. So yeah, great win for Holland. Good fight for him. I love the way he went about it.
Shit during the fight. Not talking shit, but he was talking.
He was talking nonstop.
Yep.
Good performance.
Some refs hate that.
As long as you know, it was good to see Holland back on his game, and you know, fighting a better fight than that Gunnar Nelson fight, which he won, but was not fun, and you know, better than the De Ritter and Dolidze fights up at middleweight, where I just don't want to see him.
Yeah, Kevin shouldn't be fighting at middleweight.
Yeah. So this was a good performance. Somebody asking if we get nervous about Luque fighting because of the brain bleed. You know what? Maybe I should. I don't, honestly.
I don't either. I feel like he's cleared. He wants to do it.
Yeah. And honestly, I personally believe that probably a full third of MMA fighters have suffered similar injuries that we just never hear about. And maybe that they don't even know about. Because it's not like, oh, he, you know, lapsed into unconsciousness and they discovered he had a brain bleed or something like that. It's like, no, he got a scan and they're like, oh, there's a spot on your brain. And like, if he didn't get that scan, he would never have known.
Right.
You know? And I bet that happens to fighters all the time. In fact, I know, like, Woodley couldn't get sanctioned in New York because they found signs of an old brain injury from like years ago that he didn't know about.
Oh, and a lot of contact sports are like that. I know football's like that.
Yeah.
American football.
So, truthfully, I don't think that it's anything. I don't worry about him more than I worry about any other fighter, which, you know, I do think every fighter should retire. I think that'd be a great idea. Like, any fighter that decides they don't want to do this anymore, I'm like, good. Go, like, whatever. Do something healthier. But I'm not worried about him being at particularly higher risk. Maybe I should be, but I'm not.
So Holland calls out Colby Covington.
Yeah.
Who probably won't take the fight.
Yeah, it's a great call out. It's a good fight, but you know, any opportunity
that'd be a shitty fight. But
it might be, but I would be fine watching it, and any chance that somebody can get to humiliate Colby Covington for not taking a fight by calling him out and watching him not take the fight, I'm happy about that.
I would want to see the build up.
Yeah.
Just some terrible shit talking going on back and forth.
It's a fun idea. I would be fine with it. Instead, I don't know, he can fight Jeff Neal or something.
Well, like Kevin Holland's, he's one of those guys where it doesn't even matter who he fights.
Yeah.
I will always show up for a Kevin Holland fight.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it interesting, even in his losses.
Yep. And for Luque, he's just, you know, he's down in the welterweight mix now again, down in the churn, out of the mix, I suppose I should say.
Yeah, out of the rankings.
You know, just a lot of dudes he can fight in that division at this point. You know, Chaos Williams fought down earlier on the card. You could fight Chaos Williams.
Sure.
You know, there's a bunch of guys like that. Max Griffin, he could fight Max Griffin. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But Joshua Van,
holy shit.
God damn, did he
going in, I was like, why is he such a massive betting favorite here? This is somewhat of a step up in competition. You know, yeah, Bruno's coming off a loss, but he's dangerous. But holy shit, Van put it on him. Like, he absolutely put it on him. He was so much faster and sharper and more polished with his boxing. He ate some leg kicks, but it didn't matter. Like, he was so crisp tonight.
And I love, too, that afterward he was talking about, like, I've been working on being more measured, working on, you know, not eating so many shots and all, and being more spaced. And he was. Like, he styled on Bruno Silva better than Manel Kopp did. You know? Like, that was a war Kopp had with Silva. It was a war he won, but it was a brutal fight.
It was a tougher fight, yeah.
Van just went out there. He just put it on him. So this was a great performance from Van. I've been really glad to see, like, you know, I've been worried that he didn't take any time after that brutal Charles Johnson knockout and then that really rough fight against Edgar Chairez. And it was like, okay, you're just fighting like every 2 months. This isn't great. But he looks better. He looks like he's getting better. He looks like he's learning. He looks like he's developing his game. And at this rate, I am absolutely certain that he will be fighting for the flyweight title at some point.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
This is 4 knockdowns in this fucking fight.
Mm-hmm.
4. And one of them was a knee defending a takedown.
That was
going on here.
That was beautiful. No, his game is clicking on all cylinders.
He is so wise beyond his years.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a throwback to where you would get these really well-developed guys early on, like in the earlier UFC days. You know, like your Diaz, like Nick Diaz or Robbie Lawler. Like guys who were just like, how the fuck are you this complete when you're fucking 18, 19, 20 years old?
One of the things I got to credit is Van has his own boxing coach that he goes to and works with. And whoever that guy is, like, get him some work. Get Patchy Mix to his house fast. Like,
right.
That man is doing good work. You know, Van's head work, his head movement, his combination, the smoothness of his combos.
A lot of those knockdowns were counters.
Yeah. Like, he did what I really love is the first big knockdown he landed. We were talking about this in the Vivi this week. We're like, okay, Bruno Silva, he likes to fight. He likes to counter on the back foot. So he's going to let Van pressure. So I can't pick him to win this. But the big shot that Bruno Silva should be looking for, and they could be a big worry to Van, is the uppercut counter. Because Van does tend to get low when he comes in, and he throws combinations coming in low, and that's what Charles Johnson knocked him out with. He caught him coming in low, and he hit that uppercut counter, knocked him cold. Bruno Silva loves that punch. It's got to be one of the things he looks for. And Van came in, and he feinted, and he drew out that uppercut counter, and then he just clocked him with a straight shot, even before that counter could get there. And that was what knocked him down. It's like just realizing the things that your opponents are going to be trying to do and drawing those out to make them pay.
No, that's like
shit.
That's like NFL quarterbacks who knows that the defense is steady and taped.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll act like, they'll set up the offense as if they're running that play. So the defense is like, oh, I got this. I'm cued in on it. And then they switch it up and, whatever. But it's genius.
Yeah. He's a great fighter. And
that's some counterintelligence right there.
Mm-hmm. We got a fight coming up here with what's going to be the right fight? Well,
I got the perfect fight for him. I
yeah.
got the perfect fight. You ready for this? Horiguchi.
Oh yeah, well, because did they bring him? I forget. Did they sign?
Yeah, he was supposed to fight. What's his face?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But everyone else is either booked or coming off a loss. Horiguchi is perfect because if
Horiguchi Van,
he's so young, it doesn't matter. Excellent, experience, and if he wins, he's right there in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Because I mean, otherwise, I would say like the winner of Erceg Perez or the winner of Elliott versus Asakura, but Horiguchi that's the call. I like it.
We'll learn so much about Van in that fight.
Yep. All right. That brings us to a light heavyweight bout. Asmat Mirzakhanov against Brenson Ribeiro. And this fight this was always going to go this way. You've got a Fedor-esque modeled super long range power striker like Mirzakhanov against Ribeiro, who loves to back himself into corners and is defensively shoddy. It's just going to be a matter of time until Mirzakhanov can land that one bomb that rocks him and turns the fight.
No, I mean, Mirzakhanov did exactly what he was supposed to do here. He was a massive betting favorite, as he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't want to say he's a dark horse, but he kind of is.
He just doesn't. He fights so rarely. He's even talking like, "Oh, I could get opponents to stop pulling out on me." It's like you have been the reason for cancellation in 3 of your last 4 fights. So I don't know what you're talking about, man. You're 36. You fought 14 times in your career. It can't always be the other guy. A lot of this has to be you. You know.
Sure. But he's a problem.
He is. No, like I don't know. You know, he's small and he's a very one shot at a time kind of fighter. I think that there could be trouble for him going up the rankings, but shit, have him fight Dominic Reyes.
Fuck yeah.
You know?
That's the perfect matchup.
Yeah. Why not?
2 guys hungry for the title. Dom's on he's in his Phoenix stage.
Yeah, he's in his Phoenix stage. Mirzakhanov needs a ranking. The big thing is he wants to headline a fight night. Mirzakhanov, Dominic Reyes, that can headline a fight night card.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to a heavyweight bout. Waldo Cortez Acosta beat Sergey Spivak. And,
I guess.
Not to my eyes, he didn't.
Nah,
I didn't see it.
Spivak. I gave Spivak 23.
Yep. I thought it was pretty easy to score, too. I thought, Spivak came out, he charged after Cortez Acosta early, put it on him, and then he let his foot off the gas and let Cortez Acosta back in round 2. And then he won round 3. He went after him again in round 3. It's a really pretty easy fight to score. So one judge even had it 30-27. That man casts a spell. I don't know how, because he has had 2 or 3 of these fights now where it's just I'm not at all convinced you really won that, but all judges seem to think you did. So
yeah, that 30-27 is indefensible.
Yeah.
I can't even.
Yeah, because I can see there's an argument that he might have won round 3 because he threw twice as much as Spivak. It was just half as powerful.
Yeah, and he got wobbled in that round.
He got wobbled in that round, so it should have been an easy round. I mean, the judges weren't even. It's terrible call. And
not the worst robbery I've ever seen.
No, but it definitely it feels weird that every judge scored it for Cortez Acosta. I'm not saying you can't say, oh, it should have been a split. I think Spivak should have won it. Yeah. But I'm surprised nobody saw him winning this fight. Nobody.
Maybe they tuned out. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody saw him winning the first round. That was the weird thing. Is like I thought that was a really solid round for him.
Probably the clearest round of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, the second round was clear for Waldo.
Yeah. But now you got to do like Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Shamil Gaziev, or no, because he beats Spivak, so it's going to be like Jailton Almeida.
Whatever.
I know. Do Jailton Almeida. What the hell else are you going to do with him?
Waldo is not someone I'm excited to watch fight.
No, nobody is. All right. That brings us to a welterweight bout. Andreas Gustafsson, Chaos Williams.
Holy EPO, Batman. Like, what? A welterweight going at a Merab pace?
Yeah.
That's nuts. Like, that's almost superhuman. Like, test this guy. That didn't seem... That was...
I mean, this is one of those things where, like, I knew if Chaos Williams couldn't knock Gustafsson out, he was not going to beat him on a pace fight, because they're both swing and cling guys. They both throw a couple of big shots and then clinch up. But Gustafsson works way higher at a way higher work rate. I thought Williams might be able to catch him, but the moment he didn't, it was like, okay, yeah, you're screwed. But Williams, too, though, he's another fighter. He needs to have a serious talk with his corner, because they're telling him to, like, jab and stick and move and, like, circle out and, like, keep distance and all that. Like, have you ever watched Chaos Williams fight before? Has this man ever heard the word jab before? You said it just now in this cage. Has he ever had a fight where you've seen him keep distance for more than 10 seconds? He swings a bunch of wild hooks and then he clinches up with somebody and he holds them against the cage. That is every Chaos Williams fight. How did you get this far where now at this moment you're cornering him and you're like, oh, no. You should be jabbing now. It's like, yeah, you should.
I think that's bad advice anyways. Like,
yeah.
I feel like Gustafsson is someone you have to come forward on.
Yeah.
You have to meet his pressure with your own foot. You have to make him back up, make him uncomfortable. If you're trying to jab and skirt around, you're giving him what he wants, which is the ground, the cage command. You can't do that. You have to fucking meet him head on and go at him.
Yeah, it's just weird to see his Williams corner acting like he's this like open space range master fighter. It's just like, this guy, you've been working with this guy for a decade. How do you just like wake up today and you're like, okay, today this is what we're actually gonna do? You know, I don't get it at all. I think it's bad advice all around. It is. Like you said, it's not who he is, but it's also just not how you deal with that situation with that much pressure. You got to meet that pressure. And the result is, honestly, I mean, he got trucked. Yeah. He got trucked in the kind of fight that he should have been competitive in. You know? And he was absolutely command. Not. He had zero command out there. Yep. So, he's in a slump right now. It's like he's lost his edge. I mean, this is the kind of fight that should be giving him some real pause, because it's like, was this guy just stronger than you? Because you're bigger and stronger than almost any welterweight out there. Did he hit harder than you? Because you hit harder than anybody out there. You've never been knocked out before, so now you really have to buckle down and say, why did I just absolutely get run over? You know, well, it's someone who's far more technical in the clinch, and someone who pushes a way harder pace. Yep. And isn't afraid of your power. Yep. Is willing to wade in with just madness. Yep. To fall into the clinch. He's like would you call it? Swing and cling. Swing and cling. Yeah. He met his match in the swing and cling. He did. So now you got to say, so like somebody matched your A game and they just took it away from you. That needs to be your wake up moment, where it's not like, oh, they just beat me because they danced around, or they just beat me because they were a way better wrestler than me or something. It's like, no, they beat you because they do your game better than you. Far better. Yeah. With a far better gas tank. Yep. Hey, we're in the post-USADA era. I mean, that's EPO energy all day. Look, if he's using EPO, you can get yourself some EPO. Like
Didn't he like just cut weight last week?
Yeah.
Whatever. It was a mauling.
It was. Although I do like that they were trying to say that he talks like Bane from Batman, which does he have a voice like this? Batman! I've come to
Hearing Zane's Bane was not on my bingo card for this.
That was not his voice. He does not talk like Bane from Batman. He does not talk like Julia Childs trapped in a bathtub.
Yeah, it's probably racist or something. Yeah. No.
All right. That brings us to a catchweight bout. Wong Song, Ariane de Silva. And man, I loved seeing this fight because I have been on the Wong Song bandwagon for a minute now, and I was not at all convinced she could win this fight.
Is it Tong?
It's TS Song.
Okay.
Yeah. Wong Song. I know.
Whatever.
You can say Kong.
I can say the Joker.
Yeah. I was not really convinced she could win this fight because after getting knocked out by Gabriela Fernandez, she looked like she had to really convince herself to bite down and fight against Bruna Brazil.
Did she get knocked out?
Or she got club and subbed by Gabriela Fernandez. But still.
But that was like, I feel like that was just antics. That was just being cocky, flying too close to the sun.
Well,
she had won and just was being too casual, too friendly, too much showboating.
Could be. It just seemed like her fight with Brazil after that, she was really skittish about sitting down, about really committing.
Yeah, because of
the fight. So it's like, well, if you're going to fight like that against Ariane de Silva, she's a bigger, better hitter and a more technical striker. This might be a point where you actually lose a fight you should win because you're not committed enough to your own offense. And Song went out there and she just sat down in front of Ariane de Silva and made her prove it. You know, she said, okay, we're going to trade. And she even got the worst of several exchanges throughout this fight where they would both crack and Song would get stumbled and wear the worst of it. But she kept coming back, kept pushing De Silva back, and De Silva could not fight off the back foot. She got run off of her game.
I think the most impressive part for me of this whole fight was De Silva being able to fight out of the southpaw stance.
Mm-hmm.
She really got herself back into the fight.
Yeah.
And like learned how to fight in her opposite stance. That was impressive. Like, shout out to her. That's some true toughness. Her lead leg was done. Absolutely done. And she still made it competitive. She lost every round, but she at least she showed she had some dog in her. And she was saying she had or someone said she had a benign tumor.
Yeah. Pituitary.
That botched her weight cut or something. She was like 7 pounds heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Something nuts. Which,
who knows?
For me, I was like, well, if this goes into the grappling realm, this might get ugly.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing to me, too, is that I figured Song, I wasn't convinced Song was confident with her striking yet, again. And if anything else happened, I would give De Silva an edge as a grappler and wrestler.
Yeah.
Even though she's not a great grappler or a great wrestler.
Yeah, so this was a good proving fight.
Yeah, this was a really, really quality performance from Wong Song.
And I think it gets her in the rankings.
Yeah, it does. She should fight Casey O'Neill.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Solid, tough test. Busy.
She called out Jessica Andrade.
Yeah.
She's
she can do that too.
At this point, it feels like.
Yeah.
It's the lowest hanging fruit with a name.
Yeah. The Andrade fight makes sense for her. If I were her, I would call that fight out too. It's a bigger fight that will get you further up the rankings. But it's also a fight that feels like it makes less sense. But yeah, sure. She could fight Jessica Andrade. Thing we really want to talk about, though, is Yu Song against Jekka Saragi. And, man, Yu is, at the very least, he's going to be a thrill for every fight he's in the UFC. He is very clearly an excellent athlete with excellent timing and real eye for counterpunching and power striking. Like, yeah.
It's hard.
He flatlined him with that little left hook. Just absolutely.
The shortest fadeaway check hook ever.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are comparing it to what Conor did to Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
But like that, it's different because what Conor did was, you know, the southpaw power hand to counter.
Mm-hmm.
This was just the fadeaway orthodox left hook, which might even be more difficult to land to knock somebody out with like as short as that was. This was impressive. And the way he fell.
Yeah.
Full face plant.
Beautiful shot.
Early stoppage. Complete early stoppage.
Yeah. Gorgeous fight from him. Can't wait to see him fight more. Watching tape on him regionally. The dude has been a killer. He looks like the real thing. He's a clear, supreme athlete. Great power, great time. I don't know if his game is really deep and well-rounded, but he's going to be a lot of fun no matter what.
Crazy debut. I hope he got a performance bonus for that. A 28-second pure knockout.
He did get a performance bonus.
Okay.
Yeah. Our man Joshua Van got robbed, but
Damn.
Yu Song got one.
Who else got any?
Dvalishvili got one. Kayla Harrison got one, and Kevin Holland got one.
Okay.
No fight of the night, though.
I don't think there was a fight of the night.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. Not really any not really any performances that weren't either totally one-sided or not that interesting.
Yeah.
I just briefly watched Sal Killed Ashmuz. I didn't really see all of it. I was out doing other stuff, but looked like he was solid. I don't know. He was way bigger than Ashmuz, so that was what I figured would be kind of the big deciding factor.
Yeah, I mean, that fight wasn't that great.
Yeah.
It was just okay. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. And then Markel Medeiros really crippled Choinski with those low kicks. Credit to Choinski for fighting through it and making it to the final bell and doing everything he could to get around it. But
that's being like the Coach Kush, Rufus Sport. Their whole ethos is not to check the kick, but to eat the kick and then counter. Like that's really a real crux of their whole game. And like it works when they're kicking the thigh.
Yeah.
But the game has changed. You can't do that with the calf.
You gotta get on that Rick Little kick where you don't check the kick and you don't counter it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu knows what's up.
That's That's a tough one.
That was a tough one.
Can't just eat the calf kicks.
No.
What was crazy is we got an illegal stomp to the calf tonight.
Yeah, I love that. Do that more. Make them actually punish you for it, Markel.
Yeah, until
somebody actually takes a point. Do that more. I don't care. That shit's cool.
I know a guy, Sean Spath, who referees the fights here in Virginia, but he fought on an LFA card, and the guy, his nickname was the Turk, but he had him on the ground, and he just stomped his midsection, and like they called it a TKO. But, the dude's a referee, so like he knows the rules. So like he went and got it appealed, and ended up being a no contest. Can't be stomping.
No. Can't axe kick. You got to axe kick. You got to lock the knee, and then you can strike with the heel.
It's so silly.
It is.
But Choinsky, if he was smart, he would have tapped to that. And he would have.
True. There you go.
This would have been a no contest.
I would not want to depend on the regulation efficacy of a commission to get a win.
Or not New Jersey. It was not a win. It was a no contest. But
well, I wouldn't want to depend on a commission's regulatory efficacy for anything.
True.
You know, you do not want to go to them and say, "Fix this for me," because all it takes is for the referee to say, "No, I don't think that was a problem," and then the commission will say, "Okay, well, the ref says it's fine, and we're going to default to them." So get lost.
Either way, it was cool to see.
It was cool to see. I loved it. All right. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be over on our Substack with a little bit of bonus content dropping later.
Where we unwrap it up.
That's right. And otherwise, you can find me on the link for that. Subscribe, help us out right down below in the comments. Go. I don't even care if you like this or whatever. You want to help us out. Go sign up, subscribe. Be part of the Substack. That helps us out. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Zane Simon, and on Substack and on Blue Sky at Zane Simon. And you can find Eddie on Twitter and all other places at the Eddie Mercado. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
You should put the glasses back on.